Welcome to Second Chance Garage. Okay, this porcelain over here is a porcelain plug. Screw a light bulb into it. Okay, for some reason, after 20 years, the connections on the inside of this went bad. So how this works is the outside of this ring is your negative. And you've got a post in the middle, right there, that's your positive. Okay? So then one side's positive and one side's negative. Okay, so what you do is after a few years, they'll start losing connection in here. So I had a new one. So I went ahead and put the new one up. Okay, so what I did was, since the house was built, it was one of them wick homes, pre-built, prefab homes. Okay, so I had checked they had just wrapped in electrical. Well, usually you use a wire nut on these, but it was built back before they did that. But it's got a solder, so it's a good positive. It's a good connection. So I'm just going to rewrap it back with electrical tape. Okay, your black is hot in house wiring. Car wiring, it is ground. This is your neutral wire. This wire up here is your ground wire. This grounds to the box. The neutral wire runs back to your fuse block on your breaker box. So at no time does the neutral wire and the ground wire, they're separate wires. The only place they meet is at the fuse bus, the block, ground block on the breaker box. Okay, so your hot wire will hook up to, I don't know if you can see, they're actually two different colors. The hot wire is a brass. This is a silver. You always hook your hot wire to the brass. And a lot of times down here, it'll have it stamped hot and neutral or / ground. Right. So anyway, I'm replacing this because the other one over there went bad. So I have to, and then meter time. This is test meter. This is what you want to set it on. This is AC current because it's house current. If you're testing a battery, this would be DC current. Okay, so you want it on AC current, and this is what you can do. Your red lead, okay, your red lead is your positive. Okay, when you want to plug in for like your house, the short one is your positive. I don't know if you can tell, but there's two different links here. So you stick this in your positive. Well, if I can get it to stay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll just hold it in there. Okay. This is your positive. The long one is your negative. Boom. Just like that. Red is always hot. Okay. Then you come up to your meter. And your meter will show that you have, it's called a 120 volt system. Boy, there's a big glare. Okay. Yeah, I am wiggling it. Okay, it's actually got 122. Very rarely do you wind up with exactly 120. See, it's got the point there. It's fluctuating because I'm wiggling the connection. But it's 122.345. It's not fluctuating that much. It's me holding them in there. Okay, so what do you want to do? You want to put your meter here. Ta-da! Before you start jacking with it, you want to throw the breaker off. Then you want to go to your black one. Here, we can just go to black. Yeah, doing this with one hand is always fun. Okay, there's your black. There's your ground. There's your black. Okay, you just need to make contact with them. Okay, then your meter has to show 0. That tells you that your power is shut off at the breaker, which is exactly what you're looking for when you're jacking with it. Do not ever do this without shutting your breaker off first. If you don't, these wires are going to be live, and if you grab this like this, or you're messing around with a screwdriver and you touch anything that's a ground, even this bicycle, if I was to touch this bicycle, it'll shock the living crap out of you, and it can give you enough shock to stop your heart and kill you. So just keep that in mind. Now what I have to do is wrap this in electrical tape and then put it all back up in the box. You got to make sure that this doesn't come in contact with your box, because one of two things will happen. It'll either hot your box up, and then if you touch it, or it'll get hot and catch something on fire, or it'll trip the breaker and make a direct short. So anyway, all right, now I've got it all electrical taped up real good. You notice that there's no wires showing or nothing. There's no bare ends. So now I'll try to do this one-handed, which will be fun. But I ain't one of them rich YouTubers. I ain't got no tripods or none of that fancy stuff. This is just stuff that I do. Squeeze it up in there. Make sure that everything is hunky-dory. And I always like to make sure that the end of these wires here are kind of out in the middle of the box, so they're not touching anything. Right. And it goes up like that, and then you put your screws in. Okay. This will be fun doing it one-handed, I'm sure. But, okay, what I'm going to do here, since this thing has got elongated holes, make sure your bolts go through here. So that way I can start this in here like so. Especially doing it one-handed. Ouch. Okay. This has been messed up for years. I should have done it a long time ago, but I was just too lazy. Takes about 10-15 minutes to do it, but come on. Get started in there. Okay, now we got our screws started. Now what we're going to do is stick the head of the bolt up through the hole like that. And then you turn it you're supposed to turn it and lock it in place. But of course, I don't have it drawn up tight enough. Ouch. Hang on a minute. And it's a lot easier to do when you got two hands instead of just one. So, hang on a second.